Good evening. Good evening. Great, thank you. Welcome to a District 6 community update. My name's Tony Thompson, and I have the privilege of being able to serve the district as Chief of Staff. We thank you for spending some time with us this evening so that we can provide a litany of brief topics or share a litany of brief topics for you that the district and President Martinez felt were important to share, for your interest and for those that are really committed to this district. Some of the information that we're going to cover will focus on performance updates, enrollment updates in District 6 in this single member district, but we'll also provide a brief update about our right sizing process that we went through last year and some of the work that the facility repurposing panel has engaged in over the last several months. And then we'll also have someone here who will share some updates about the bond as well. At the very end, we're setting aside some time for questions and answers. So we're eager to hear what your questions are so that we can make sure that we address those to the extent that it's possible. And this won't be the last time that you'll see us, for some update that impacts, in particular, District 6. So I'm going to make some quick introductions and so that you'll know who's going to be presenting and sharing information. And I'll start with, first I want to introduce one of our awesome facility repurposing panel members who's on tour with us right now as we go throughout the district for these community updates, and this is Susan Simpson. Ms. Simpson, before she took on her second full-time job, taking care of grandchildren, you were at Beacon Hill? At Beacon Hill, so also in District 6. So thank you for being here. And then we have some others that are going to share information, to include Yvonne Little, who's appropriately attired in black and gold, since this is Edison. She's going to share information about the bond. We have Diane Fernandez, who's our Executive Director for Access and Enrollment. And we have Liza Rosenthal, who is with Accountability. And black and gold. There are different shades of black and gold, so that's good. And let's see, who else do we have that's going to, and then Kevin Kwiatkowski is our team member who's going to share information about the facility repurposing panel. And Jennifer, didn't see you back there. Jennifer Tobias is one of our other awesome members of the facility repurposing panel who's on tour with us as well. So thank you, Jennifer, for being here. I'm going to go on and turn it over to someone who really doesn't need any introductions, and that's our board chair and your District 6 single member district representative, Ms. Christina Martinez, who's going to share some additional insights and thoughts with you. Ms. Martinez?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. And of course, thank you to all of the SAISD staff that helped put on the meeting, our comms team, our IT team. And so just a round of applause for them because they set up such an amazing thing for us. It's also streaming live right now, so we may have questions that come in virtually as well. But thank you all for being here tonight. As you all know, we have been going out into each of our communities to talk about where we are with the right sizing and to talk specifically about facilities. So we are doing these meetings all across the district. But I did ask that since we were going to be gathering in District 6, if we could also bring some other information for our citizens to just hear more about what's happening specifically in District 6. So today's meeting, you'll hear some enrollment and performance data. Our District 6 area, thankfully at this point in time, has schools that were enrolled above the threshold to even be considered for right sizing. We did change some grades between Beacon Hill and Cotton Academy. So we have the Beacon Hill, which is a primary campus now, and then Cotton is serving older grades. That was the one change that we saw in District 6. But I just want to make sure that we are all keeping our eye on enrollment, that we're all making sure that our schools are thriving, that our neighborhoods are thriving, that we continue to, fight our property taxes so that we can keep this Edison community affordable to live in. I think that's a really big call to action for all of us. One of the reasons that we are able to maintain our enrollment on this side of town is it's still pretty affordable to buy a house here, and we want to maintain that here in this community. So we have to always keep talking about that. The other thing we're going to look at is just the right-sizing process, where we are now, and to talk about what's happening next. And then we also have members from the facilities, the right-sizing facilities repurposing committee, who have been working on that process, and they can answer any questions from their perspective about how that's going. And then we are also going to get a bond update, right? Can't help but pass by the baseball field and the softball field, and it looks amazing and well-needed and well-deserved. And our principal is busy wearing a lot of hats tonight, but Dr. Carrielo's in the back. Thank you for joining us. And so, but you're here in the auditorium. This was part of Bond 2016. And so now you're seeing the labor of Bond 2020, and there's lots of other things happening inside the building as well. So we'll get an update on that. We aren't going to get to do a tour tonight, but we will be inviting people back to see the facilities inside and out as well. So thank you again for being here. I'll turn it over now to our wonderful Diane Fernandez. She does an amazing job with our enrollment. And of course, the process to get into SAISD Choice Schools is a big, huge process that she's been navigating. So we're grateful to her.
Thank you, President Martinez, for the kind introduction. As she mentioned, my name is Diane Fernandez. I oversee the Office of Access and Enrollment here at SAISD. And today, I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about how are the children doing in District 6. And as President Martinez mentioned, I'm going to be specifically focusing today on student membership. So let's go ahead and take a look. So when we look at historically, our mission here in SAISD is to improve students' lives by providing a high-quality education with a very driving determination to graduate all students and ensure that they are prepared for higher education. So one of the ways that we do that is to provide high-quality schools. So here in District Member 6, we service approximately 5,482 students with various school types. So on the slide that you see on the stage, you will notice that we're going to be looking at student membership over academic years. So we're looking at student membership from 2022 all the way to 2025. We're also looking at how our campus is doing in terms of their progress with their current enrollment goals. So when we look at this information, you notice that 5 of these campuses have demonstrated an increase in student membership. Edison is being the first one, our lovely home of the Edison Bears here. And then we have Cotton, Franklin, Rogers Academy, and Twain, who have all shown an increase in student membership. While we have seen a decrease in some campuses, specifically at Whittier, Beacon Hill, and at Wilson. I will say that Beacon Hill is part of the right sizing, and so while you see that from 2022 on, their student membership accounts for pre-K through 8, while now they service students in pre-K through 2. So just want to make sure that we keep that in mind, that 2025 references a different subset of students. When we look at that data also, that middle column where the far right, the left hand, on my right-hand side in yellow is their progress towards their enrollment projection. So we are very optimistic. Why? If you notice some of the campuses, Edison, -9 students, Whittier, -13 students, Neal, -15 students, and Wilson, -5 students. So why are we optimistic? SAISD continues to enroll students every day. We get a surge of students up until Labor Day, and we also are continuing to get pre-K students into some of these campuses. So we're very optimistic that some of these campuses will meet their current student membership projection for the 24-25 school year. Here at SAISD, we track students that end the school year with us and those that return. Why? This helps us to analyze the percentage of students that we keep and the percentage of students that we lose. So let's take Edison for an example. Edison has 94% of their students who ended last year returned this school year. So let's take another look at another example, Neal Elementary School. They had 88% of their students who ended the school year returned for the 24-25 school year. The overall district percentage is about approximately 84%. So the campuses within single member District 6 have exceeded the district's re-enrollment rate. So we do see significant increases in campuses such as Whittier and Beacon Hill as we look at their progress from the 22-23 school year to the 24-25 school year. This information is very important for us as a district because it helps us to strategize how do we continue to keep students within the district. We are very fortunate to have the campuses that you see listed on that slide as choice schools. What do I mean by choice schools? These campuses have the autonomy to bring in students from not only SAISD, but outside of the school district. And so Edison here has two particular magnet programs that we have available to students, again, in district and outside of the district. One of them is their P-Tech program that focuses on business and engineering. Their other is their health professions and their first responders. So you actually can see a photo of one of the students who's in the fire program on the right-hand side. Why do I bring that up? Yes, thank you for that, because it is fantastic. And one of the great things about this is it's preparing them for what their careers may be. But it's also allowing them and allowing the campus to provide, we know that families are looking for a best fit, best match for their student, right? And providing them with additional offerings helps the students to continue to be engaged in school and ultimately perform at a higher rate. We look at Beacon Hill Primary. I want to preface that you see NA across. Why? This is Beacon Hill's first year as a choice campus. Beacon Hill was part of the right sizing, as they mentioned earlier. It's part of a merger, so they now service pre-K through 2, while Cotton services pre-K through services 3 through 8. Look at the number of applications. As a first year choice school, they have received 103 choice applications. So that is fantastic. This is their very first year. While they still fell below their membership, these applications from students outside of the district helped them to get where they're at right now. Still some work to do with student membership, but that certainly has helped. We look at Cotton Academy. You can see their increase in their applications as well, again, 3 through 8. And then our Twain Dual Language program showing an increase also in their numbers of application over the past 3 academic years. Very important for us to note, again, that they have the autonomy to bring in additional students, but I do want to preface that while this is choice, we do have in District Member 6 a very high interest of students wanting to transfer into your traditional neighborhood schools. For example, the dual language program at Franklin. When I have families calling me about transfer requests, a majority of them are, we want to get our students into Rogers Academy. We want to get our students into Franklin. Our pre-K classes at Franklin want to make sure that the kiddos get into the pre-K program there, bilingual pre-K program. So please note that while this is specifically just choice schools, we do have a high interest of families who are seeking to come to our traditional neighborhood schools in District Member 6. I want to add by saying that while we help our choice schools recruit, we are also in support of the campuses to make sure that our traditional neighborhood schools are also sharing all the wonderful opportunities and offerings that they have to showcase to families that are prospective to the campuses. So I want to end by just thanking you today for allowing me the platform to be able to share this information with you, and we continue to strive to increase student membership across the campuses in District Member 6. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I am now going to turn it over to my colleague, Lisa Rosenthal, who's going to talk to you a little bit about how the students are doing with performance.
Good evening, everybody. I am going to talk to you about 3 goals that are our primary board goals that we've established several years ago. These are long-term goals, and every year we are working toward our 5-year goal. The first goal I'd like to talk about is the first one, which is improve our reading. So we're looking at improving reading at every single grade level. So we're looking at pre-K students who are taking a circle assessment, kinder through second who take a MAP assessment, and then 3 and up who are taking the STAR test, 3 through 8, and then English 1 or English 2. So all of that data is added together, aggregated together to look at how we're doing. When you're looking at assessment data for the state, you are looking at multiple levels of passing. There is a lower level of passing that is called approaches. We choose not to use that, very consciously choose not to use that. That is a minimum passing level. What we're striving for is a higher level of passing, which is an on-grade level passing. And our long-term goal for 2027 is 50%. You'll see how every year our goal, our annual target goes up. Last year in 2024, our goal was 41, and our actual performance was 36. We went up very slightly from the year before. We're not quite where we want to be, but we are moving in the right direction. We also have the data here broken out by single member district. Again, the goal for 2024 was 41, and you'll see that the actual performance for single member district 6 was 42. So we're very happy. You guys are right over, not only are you right there, but you're also well above the district average, which was 36. So that is very, very good. And then we break it down by campus, and so you can actually see our campuses. And what I would really like to point out is we have 2 campuses, Cotton and Franklin, who are already above that 50% line. So our 2027 goal is 50%. We have 2 campuses that have already made it. The remainder of our campuses are really working their ways toward it. Yes? Oh, I'm sorry, and Twain. I missed Twain. I apologize, Twain. Yes, and Twain, who has the highest of all, is 68% at meets on reading. So we are very, very excited about that. Sorry. Thank you. So this is our goal number 1. This is, again, for all students, all grades. Goal 2 focuses on math, but looking at math, one of the things that we chose to do was to focus in on performance, specifically for students who are identified as Black. The reason that we did that is because traditionally, we have underperformed in that group, and our focus needs to be on groups that need attention. So this was one of those groups that we needed attention. So when you're looking again at that top bars and you're looking at our overall, again, our goal is 50. We started much lower. We started at 16. We were hoping to be at 28 by now, but we've gotten to 25, and that's a nice jump. So we're definitely moving in the right direction. We're just not right where we want to be yet. When you break it out by single member district, we are, as single member district 6, is still above the district's average for last year. But I would like to caveat that with, that includes 23 students. This is a very, very small group. The more you break this data down, the harder it is to look at it. In fact, you'll notice when we get down to the very bottom, and we're breaking information. So the state of Texas has established a precedence where they will reveal data with 10 or more students, and we follow that precedence. No other campus in single member district 6 had 10 students test that were identified as Black. The only one that we had was Rogers, who had 11. So it's not a lot of students, and once you break that data down, it's a little harder to see, to really extrapolate that. But that is something that I wanted you guys to understand. Our last goal, again, is focused on college readiness. And again, what we did as a district was try to find a group that is being underserved or undernoticed. And what we chose was our special education graduates. How many of those students are graduating ready for college? A lot of our general ed, we're not talking about kids in special settings, of the students who are in general education, a lot of those students do go on and do intend to go on to college. So how many of those kids are actually being prepared and are passing the tests that they need to pass in order to get into college and in order to not have to take remedial classes? So you'll notice we started in 2022 at 4%. In 2024, our goal was 14. And in 2024, we hit 14. And I'd like to point out that the state is about 4. The state is still about 4. So it's really a function of paying attention to the data and making sure that we're looking at the right information and we're getting the data that we need. Breaking this out, again, by single member district, again, we're talking very small numbers for this single member district. So this isn't necessarily reflective of all graduates. This is only looking at our special ed graduates, which is a smaller number, but it was a little low for this. And then of course, when we're looking at the high schools, we're only looking at high schools because those are the only ones with our graduates, and there's only one high school. So that's the reason there's only one campus listed here at the very bottom when you break it down by campus. But those are the 3 big goals for our district: reading, math, and college readiness. This is how we're doing. This is how we're doing as a single member district. Thank you so much, and I'm going to pass it on to
Hello, everyone. My name is Yvonne Little, and I serve the district as Senior Executive Director for Planning and Construction. We are so excited for y'all to be here and hear about all of our awesome things that are going on at Edison. We are very, very pleased to announce that we are tracking ahead of schedule on this project. We were able to turn over some new spaces here at Edison. Let me get to the right slide there. So this year, students were welcomed to a new second floor renovation at the academic building. They had new classrooms, new collaborative spaces ready for them to welcome into the new year. We also have our brand new, like Trustee Martinez said, we have our brand new baseball and softball fields outside that reoriented the fields, provided new dugouts and new batting cages for that area. And in addition to that, I know HVAC, we've got 2 brand new chillers that just arrived. Right now, the campus is being supported by a temporary, but 2 brand new chillers that are going to be installed next weekend over the Labor Day weekend. Woo! Yeah. So we're really excited about that. We waited about 12 months for those to get here, so those are already part of our plan. It does take a little while for those to get here, but we have been tracking really good with our contractor. Our project manager has been on top of it, making sure that these kids stay comfortable. Also in District 6, we have Neal Elementary that's on our bond program. We have been phasing the bond program to accommodate some of the inflation that has happened due to COVID in the construction market. So we have this project into the design development phase. The preliminary estimate that we got about last year did come about 20 to 30% over budget. So right now we're doing a deep dive into that project and seeing what kind of constructability and materiality options we can come up with in order to make that project come within budget. But there we hope to have most of the Neal spaces touched in 2 or 3 phases. Also part of our bond that y'all were so gracious to give us was a technology bond, Prop B. So we were able to outfit the entire district with new technology. So here at Edison and Neal, they're getting new wireless access points, new smart boards, Chromebooks, touchscreen laptops, and new laptops and monitor for our front office staff. Here at Edison specifically, we have upgraded access control, intrusion detection, and cameras. A neat fact is the bond IT the IT department has a tech team that is taught to work on their own laptops to support their education in the P-Tech program. For more information, you can definitely hop on over to our bond website. We have a really great video. My comms person, Michelle Jimenez, has been going out and visiting job sites and taking videos. So please visit our website to learn more about the bond projects and the progress that is going on. Mr. Kevin Kwiatkowski.
Good evening, everyone. Excuse me. My name is Kevin Kwiatkowski. I'm Director of Strategic Initiatives here at SAISD, and I'm really excited about all the cool things that my colleagues were able to share with you. I hope you were too. I'm going to switch gears a little bit and go from talking about what's happening in Single Member District 6 and start bridging into some things that we're doing district-wide to follow up with the right-sizing decision and initiatives that we started last year. As you know, we closed a number of schools back in November at the recommendation of our team and at the approval of the board. And your single member district was only impacted, as President Martinez mentioned, by the Beacon Hill and Cotton Academy merger. And across the district, though, we had several more schools and several that are now empty. And so at the request of the board, we convened a panel of citizens, and there's about 14 or 15 members who come to a meeting with us and have helped us get that process started. And so what I'm going to do is describe that for you, what we've done and what we're going to be doing next. It also includes vacant buildings or properties that we had prior to right sizing. And there is one that impacts your community in the single member District 6 up on Bassey Road. And so that's a completely vacant lot without any buildings on it that the district owns that's going to be going through this process as well. It looks a little bit different for what you can do with an empty plot of land than what you can do with a plot of land that has a building on it, but we're still going to go through and engage with the community and ensure that we're following the same exact process and values and input that we are with all the rest of them. And so one of the very first things we did before we even got the community members, which you got to introduce to Susan and Jennifer here, as well as their friends and colleagues that we've gotten to know. But one of the first things we did before and then with them was to imagine what this could look like, right? How we can go through talking about, on that previous slide I showed you 21 different facilities or properties that we have that are on our list to be considered for reutilizing in some way, shape, or form. It's a complicated idea. It's a big thing to think about. We've had some of them like W.W. White or Bowie that have been vacant for quite a while already, and so we know that this can take some time to figure out. And so what we did was we knew that we don't have the expertise in-house to understand every single aspect of that we were going to have to go out and find somebody who understands property law, for instance, or leasing facilities and how we can market that to people. That's not our day job. Our day job is to be, I'm going to steal from Jaime's, but the teachers or the teachers of teachers. That's his favorite thing to say, and it's so true. We weren't trained to be property lawyers, and so we knew we had to go out and get some, and we talked to your community members about what we would want, what kind of values we would want in a partner in order to be able to do that. And then we started thinking about what this process could look like, but we know we're going to have to bring somebody else in who understands that even further to really tweak it and make sure that it's exactly what we need and that it honors the ideas that I'm going to share on the next slide or two here about community involvement. And then from there, we're going to start engaging with you all, and the last part of the process is where we actually start talking about specific properties. Everything up until that circular portion is where we're kind of going one by one, or excuse me, group by group through each of those steps for the whole district. Once we get into the circular part, that's going to be a repetitive, iterative process where we're doing it for either one school or one property or a group that makes sense to talk about together. For instance, all of our all of our early childhood facilities, it may make sense to talk about those in one batch because they're all very similar in size, they're all very similar in the way that they're constructed, et cetera, et cetera. That's the kind of work that we're going to be doing in this prioritized groups and properties portion. And then we will get into talking about those as either groups or single items. And that's where we really come back to you all and your friends, family, and community members and ask for direct input on what do you want to see with this and with the reality of the information that we've picked up through our research on that property and its potential uses or its possible uses even. And so right now I'm gonna, hopefully we can see this here. We're right about here where it's changing between obtaining expertise and designing the process. You see we have an idea of what the process could look like, and we have already engaged with our facilities repurposing panel and put out what we call an RFQ, or request for qualifications. It's a request for people to tell us that they can do the type of work to partner with us. And we're right at that point where we're talking through the people who submitted those proposals to us. We haven't made a decision, we haven't announced or finalized a contract with anybody at this point, but as soon as we do, we'll update that for y'all so that you're understanding exactly where we are in the process. And from there, we'll start moving faster, hopefully, through those last two singular boxes and get into some of the circular discussions around specific properties. And what I want to assure you tonight, no matter where we are in the process, we've committed to these three values here, and those are community. You saw that last year when we came and spoke with you about the right sizing decision to start with. We're going to keep doing that, and we're going to keep getting better at it. One of the things that we want to make sure we do is engage as many folks as we can, not just in meetings like this, but in one-on-ones, doing some door knockings going around, finding and going to, we've had, I think, 4 or 5 meetings so far with neighborhood associations, where we've gone to your neighborhood association meeting and met with you and shared this same kind of information, because everybody who lives in the community has an input on what happens to that building or that property. And so we're really dedicated to making sure that we not only hear you, but hear those ideas and come back with something that's going to serve that community's needs and desires. The second part that we're really that we're dedicated to is safety. We're going to have constant patrols from our police department. We're going to have our some of those technology items that Yvonne was speaking to about cameras and door locks and digital resources that allow us to monitor the building despite there not being somebody in there not 24/7. We don't hopefully have anyone in any of our buildings 24/7, but being there every single day, all day like we do. We have those abilities. Our police dispatch can actually see all of that actually 24/7. They are the only ones who are there 24/7. And so they're monitoring that. But if you find something is off, you know, the see it, say it idea, see something, say something. If you notice something in your neighborhood that's not right in one of those buildings, or if you're visiting a friend across town who's at one of our vacant or empty buildings, call our police dispatch. Let them know that you think something might be going on, and they'll send somebody over there and take a look at it. And then the final thing that we're dedicated to doing is making sure that we have responsible upkeep of those facilities. It's going to take us some time to get through all 21 of those buildings or properties that we have. I wish we could make it go faster, but the reality is it's going to take us some time, and it could be even in the realm of a year or two. You saw end of December 2026 was what we were hoping for approximately for some of those discussions to come through. That doesn't mean that all 19 or 20 of those things are going to be taking that long, but some of them may be longer. Negotiations with a potential partner could take a lot longer than we're knowing. Complicated ideas like teacher housing take a lot of legwork to get done. And so what we, in the meantime, while we are still stewards of those buildings and before any agreement has put that responsibility on a partner contractually, we will maintain those buildings. That means we're gonna cut the grass. That means we're gonna go fix any windows that are broken. If somebody does do something like paint graffiti or vandalize the building in any other way, we'll get out there and we'll take care of it. Now, our priority will always be the buildings where we have students attending school today, right now, but that doesn't mean we're going to forget these. It just means that it might take an extra day or two for us to get to that as we're going through our priority list. And so we will maintain the grass. We don't want anything. So that's another thing. Don't call our police dispatch and tell them there's an emergency because the grass is long, but call our facilities department and let them know, hey, this building that's empty, the grass is as tall as my 6-year-old. Let's do something about it. It won't be that tall, but let us know if you notice anything that you think needs to be addressed. Yes. Okay, so I've already talked a little bit about this. I'm not going to spend a ton of time describing the panel, except to tell you that there are a group of citizens who are volunteering a lot of their time. Susan just smiled knowingly. They've spent each of the months from January until now, they've spent an entire business day with us. That's a lot of time to give to your community, and we're really, really, really thankful for them. They're a very fun group of people to work with, so I'm excited that I get to work with fun people too, but they're also really smart, and they challenge us to understand what's going on. They bring knowledge that we didn't have before, and they bring perspectives that are really valuable. And so that is what the board wanted us when they instructed us to develop this panel, was to be able to build that relationship and get this advice from citizens who live here in our community and who have the experiences and help inform what we need to be doing. They're going to be helping us along the way of every single step of that. They're not going to go anywhere, until 2026 or further if it takes that long, until we've gotten all of this taken care of. We're really, really grateful for them, and we know it takes a lot of their time and energy. So I want to recognize them. We already did from Tony. Thank you, Ms. Thompson, for highlighting them. But Jennifer and Susan, we're so grateful. Here's the rest of them. You can actually see some beautiful pictures of who they are on our website. I'll link to the website at the end of the presentation here in a few minutes. But if you see them around, talk to them. Tell them about something that's important to you and your community in making sure that we get through this process correctly and that we use the building or the property in your neighborhood in a way that's going to be that's going to be beneficial and serve your community's needs. They're very open to hearing and talking about it, and we're just, again, we're so grateful for them. And yes, thank you. Just to dote on them a little bit more, I want to tell you what they've done besides just coming and talking to us, right? So the things that we've accomplished with them in 6 to 7 short months are really a lot of things that are worth being proud of. We sat down for, it was probably this one might have actually been a 9 or 10 hour day where we sat down and we just talked through the values of what it takes to do this the right way. And that informed every discussion thereafter. And they pushed us to make sure that we understood exactly what the community would need from their community, from their perspective, and from their expertise as folks who have jobs doing a lot of things around town. They helped us develop that beautiful process timeline and graphic that we talked about. They helped us understand when it would be good to talk through different parts of that or work through different things. They helped us understand what we were looking for in a partner, not only in their technical expertise, things like research on property law and all that, but also on values, local representation, not a big national company that's coming in from New York and spending money on flights and all that kind of fun stuff. They wanted somebody who's going to understand San Antonio, not necessarily another neighborhood. As an example of one of those things. They helped us develop our website, which again, you can go to anytime, but they constantly keep saying, hey, here's something cool, let's add that to the website. Let's add that to the website. Like every day we're getting those kinds of suggestions. And then they helped by coming to these events, they helped design these events, and they helped us with our first idea, which was a proposal for temporary use of our Tynan Early Childhood Facility by the city of San Antonio. And so they helped us go engage directly with that neighborhood and talk to them about whether that was a good idea or not. And then they helped us decide and talk through the implications of that decision afterwards as well. And so we've really done a lot in the last 7 months, and we're really excited for the opportunity, hopefully in the next few, to get started with a partner and really come into the heavy work of community engagement and discussing through ideas to how we can reuse these buildings. And as I mentioned, they helped us design this meeting tonight. They're here representing. We've got 5 more to go. We've already completed one over at Jefferson last week. Today's the first one of this week, and then you can see we're going Wednesday, Thursday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We like meetings. No, actually, we really like you as our community. You are the reason we're here, and we're excited about that. And so if you can make it to one of those, or encourage your friends and neighbors and family who live in one of those neighborhoods to go, if somebody you know who lives here couldn't make it tonight, we're going to talk about similar things at each one of the other ones. We're going to go through the same slides about this process. There may be different ones like the enrollment data and things like that specific to each neighborhood, but we're definitely coming out trying to make sure that everybody understands exactly where we are in this process. So here's a website. It's real easy to remember though, saisd.net/repurpose. We tried to make that as easy as we could instead of way too many backslashes and things like that. And then we have a phone number, 554-2622. A lot of twos there. I had to make sure I got them in the right place. I'm really excited because what we're going to be doing is adding, we added a video, I think today, if not today, yesterday, that goes through this information. So if somebody can't make it to any of those meetings, show them the video. It's really a very quick, easy, faster than me summary of where we are and what we plan to be doing. And then we're also going to start sharing some of the ideas that we've been hearing since all the way back last year when we started talking about right sizing. We started immediately getting on some of those note cards, if any of you came, that Jaime and others were putting up on all the boards and sorting through. We started getting, well, if you do close a school, here's an idea for something you could do with a school. And so we've been collecting those all along. There's a spot on the website where you can go in and put an idea, or you can just say, hey, I want to be on the mailer list for updates, that kind of stuff. And so we've been just kind of being sponges so far about these ideas. We're going to start sharing them back because we're getting to the point where we're going to, again, come back hopefully in the next few months and start talking about how we can do that in certain neighborhoods. And if you want to be involved, not just in the facilities repurposing process, because you can submit your name on that website, I'm going to give you another website, saisd.net/advisory. Again, one more word to remember. Repurpose or advisory. If you want to be involved in any other way with the district, this is where you should go. This is where you can be involved in this type of panel, the facilities repurposing panel, or any one of our other councils or committees that help advise different aspects like enrollment, construction, strategy, community and family engagement, all of those good things. So there's a huge list of committees, and it's a really cool website to be able to click through and just kind of read through all the exciting things that are going on. So if you do, we want members on all of those committees, and we want you all to have that voice in the way the district is working. Okay, so we're at the part now where we get to talk with you, and we stop talking to you. And I want to invite Jennifer and Susan to come up and answer questions if they have, if you have them for them as members of the community who are interested in hearing how other members of the community have a perspective on this process about the repurposing. And we have some mic runners over here, so if you'll raise your hand and let us know if you have a question. Oh, and we have some on all sides. You guys are surrounded. Let us know, and we want to hear what you have to say.
This is your exit ticket, so you have to ask a question before you get to go.
Oh, no.
I'm just playing.
I got one. Okay, mine has to do with the dual language program that we have here at SAISD. I guess I would have a suggestion to make it more, I guess, run more efficiently. What I understand is that it's an 80-20, which eliminates the English speakers from the dual language portion of the school. So I think maybe we could have it to where it's more inclusive, maybe a 50-50 or something, to where the English speakers would be able to take advantage of it as well as just the Spanish speakers. I guess that's my point.
All right. Superintendent Aquino has been hiding here. Thank you for coming, sir, and he's going to answer your question.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you for that question. I want to clarify a couple of things. The 80-20% does not mean the student enrollment. It means the language that is being taught. So, for example, Mark Twain with Dual Language Academies are what we call a wall-to-wall dual language, where you have 50% of the students who are English speaker, 50% of the students who are Spanish speaker, but the language instruction is an 80-20. We do have a lot of other dual language schools that are actually 50-50. 50-50 in terms of language of instruction. So those are two of the most best supported research multilingual program, but it's not the students. So there is half and half in those, but they begin with 80%, meaning that they begin with 80% of the instruction in Spanish, the target language. That is because the English-speaking students who are not probably going to have outside the school the opportunity to learn Spanish, they get immersed in Spanish. So, did that answer your question?
Okay, my name is Dr. Rogers, and I have feedback, and then I have some questions.
Perfect.
So, let me excuse me. Let me start with the feedback. I used to work at Edison, and I was the fire science instructor, and we started the program here back in 2012. And for the last 5 years, I was here for 5 years. I had kept track of my students that were in the program. And let me share with you what I found. One, many have graduated from Texas A&M. Some have graduated from other colleges. Many are firefighters and paramedics. Many are serving their country as firefighters in the military. Many have said, sir, I didn't get into the fire service. I got into another field job. And the reason why I was accepted for that job is because of the training and the certificates that I received from the fire program. So I want you to know that you have the best fire program in the entire state of Texas. Second, feedback. Are we supposed to give feedback on the use of buildings?
You can, yes.
Okay, good, because I do have some feedback.
Great.
One of the issues that we're looking at is the vitalization of the downtown and surrounding areas. It's hurting our population of students. And so how can we blend in with this vitalization using those buildings for purposes that will process with their goals? And there's several of them. Restaurants. There's going to be a lot of people who are hungry because they're going to have this sports arena center. Another, this is my favorite, a parents' academy. One school designated as an academy for parents. Parents who can get their GED, learn how to speak English, work towards getting their high school diploma, counseling, and learn how to be parents. So we should have one school referred to as Parents Academy designated just for them. The other is higher education. I teach at some universities, and they're branching out. And so these higher education universities, I would think, would love to use the schools as an outside branch for our community. Daycares. We need daycares. And so that would be another thought. And the other is business. How can we implement these buildings into the business arena regarding the revitalization of the area? But my favorite is the Parents Academy. Can you imagine? You know, we have so many parents that don't speak English. So many parents that don't know how to read. So many parents that are unable to help their kids. Can you imagine if we start training and educating our parents and what impact it would have on our students? Those are my thoughts.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you for all those feedback. Great idea, things that the repurposing panel will consider. But I just want everybody to know that we have a very robust adult ed and parent academy. We have a center with like 4 or 5 satellites because we wanted to make it easy for them. They can get their GED, they can have ESL classes, immigration, parent training. So we offer that under Darlene Robles. Bo. So we do have that throughout the city. But we have the best fire first responder in the state of Texas, if not the entire nation, right?
Thank you. And we definitely are going to take all of those ideas back. And if you can do a favor and put them on the website, that way we make sure they got recorded as well in the way that you intend them to. And if you get any more ideas, then you'll know exactly where to go to give them to us, because those are some really good ones. Hello.
Hey, Kevin.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. I just wanted to add another affirmation to the bioscience school here. My niece, Sarah Vera, graduated several years ago. She went to Texas A&M, and she is 3 months away from her doctorate.
Woo!
Sarah Vera. Oh, Melinda Orta Toplitsky.
It's very exciting to hear the positive energy.
Yes, how you doing? I'm an Edison alum. My question about these properties that are out there, I noticed 1900 Bassey Road. By any chance is that right behind a church called Word of Faith.
Yes.
My church has been trying to buy that lot. And when you got properties like that, they've been trying to buy it for years. And I mean, when it's been sitting there, I know back in high school, we used to go up there and hang out on that lot. And it's been empty that long, like 40 years ago.
Yep.
So, you know, sell it. You know, we got buildings out there that ain't doing nothing. Don't let them sit too long. You're going to start spending money for security and cutting grass, and all that's money coming out of taxpayer money. You know, and let's get them sold. You know, we can't come up with some good idea for them. Even build a health center for the adults, you know. There's a lot of diabetes in this neighborhood, you know, Hispanics. Get them in there working out. Give them a place to go. And if anything, you know, mainly let's get our money. Let's get our money back. I know a lot of contractors out there that buy buildings. And when y'all are ready, I'll send them over there and they'll start buying.
Okay.
Get them off your hands. Get some money back in your pockets, and let's spread it out to the schools.
So we are definitely open to any and all ideas, including all of those. A couple of them are ones that we've heard more than once, the health center idea, the recreation.
Right.
Regarding 1900 Bassie, if you can do me a favor on that website, saisd.net/repurpose, there's a little contact tab.
Right.
Click on that. Send me, whether it's you or
This is my pastor. He's got
your
cash.
pastor's name.
He's
Yeah.
he's
He's
willing
got
to give
cash.
cash.
He's going to come in with the suitcase and everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He's from Detroit, so don't be surprised.
I'm from Detroit. we got this good then. Okay.
And one more question. I noticed Whittier's attendance was going down. Back in the day, from I-10 all the way to Nassau, used to be Edison property and Edison and Whittier.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what Jefferson did. They went over there and Robin Hood us. They took their hood away. Back in our people used to. I have guys I played high school football with lived on Denton, Lamanda, and now that's all Jefferson. Why did that become Jefferson when it was already Edison's neighborhood? You know, and they took kids away from us. That's already a big old school. Give us some people over here. Thank you.
Thank you. But yes, just give your pastor's contact info, and we can. You can do that too. Yes. There you go.
He wants to revitalize the church and add it on.
Perfect.
And what better to add to this neighborhood to another church and more church?
We have a question back there, and then we'll come up to you here, sir, after that. Yes.
Hi. Thank you for taking my question. So how firm are y'all on the idea of leasing out the buildings, for one? You know, are you open to, you know, selling or other arrangements? And then if we are firm on leasing, do you have any insight into what the terms might be? I guess you probably don't at this point, but if you do have any additional info, I'd love to hear it.
Those are really, really good and really smart questions. Thank you. What was your name?
My name's Lyle Hofstetler.
All right, Lyle, thank you. So I mentioned our day jobs are not property expertise, right? But we've learned a lot in the last 6 months. And I would wager Susan and Jennifer have too. We are definitely open to the reality that it's going to take a lot of negotiation to figure out the best way for that to work for somebody, because we are dedicated to not selling the buildings that were closed due to right sizing. That was something that Dr. Aquino mentioned from day one, and that we stand by today. These are assets for our neighborhood that we want to ensure are used for our neighborhood's purposes, and that sometime 20, 30, 40, 50, maybe even longer years from now, there's a possibility we might need a facility back as the community changes, shifts, grows. You mentioned one way that it changes, shifts, and grows is that district boundaries change, right? So where people go to school changes, and that can all have things that we don't even know is going to happen in 50 or 60 years. We can hope and predict and all that, but we need to make sure that we're nimble enough to be able to take that back at some point. But what we've learned, certain ideas, I'm going to spit one out. Teacher housing was something. Affordable teacher housing was an idea that was floated by not only our teaching staff, but by our community, right? And this was from day one all the way through now. We're still talking about it as a potential idea. You have to do a lot of work to change a school into a housing facility. It's been done in other communities, Philadelphia, Detroit, I can't remember exactly where else that we've done the research on, but it has happened. But if you're going to do it, you either need to sell it so that they have the investment in that property, or it has to be something like a 50 or 99-year lease. Those are the typical terms that we've learned from the experts that we've already spoken to, not to mention the ones that we're going to partner with more directly moving forward. But we're open to what it's going to take to make some of those realities possible if that's what the community says, and if there's a partner out there who's willing to do that. That's part of the thing.
In those situations, you have to be careful because there have been studies that say that multifamily houses or like apartment complexes and things like that, crime rate does go up in those areas. Where I'm with the neighborhood association.
Yeah.
Neighborhood association and a parent. So I think that's something that you guys do need to take
Absolutely.
into consideration because we want our neighborhoods to stay safe.
Thank you. And to help you, reassure you on that one, and Susan wants to share something answering back before we come to you, so don't worry, we haven't forgotten. But one of the things that we intend to do in the research stage it's the very first piece of the circular part of the diagram, is to have a real estate and the demographics type experts, people who that's not what we do and the type of statistics that we look at every day, come in and help us understand the impacts of different scenarios. So right. So we have all of those ideas to talk with SAPD, with the city as well, and so I'm going to let Susan jump in and add to that as well.
Well, I was just very excited when you said your neighborhood association.
Yes.
Because at our meeting yesterday, we found out from the representative from this area, Henry, right, that there was not any neighborhood association that he knew of.
Oh,
and we're trying to reach out to more people, and that's a very good source. I'm also the neighborhood association president where I live, so I was able to get the word out a lot easier. So we need to get your information.
Yes, yeah. So I'm with Los Angeles Heights Neighborhood Association just across, but I have a son that's at Franklin, and I also have a son here at Edison. This is a freshman.
Great.
We love it here already. So.
Well, if you don't mind, I'll pass your information on to Henry when we get
Yes, no, please,
So-
but yeah, that needs to be taken into consideration.
And part of our process is the community engagement isn't just going to be what you could think of as like a listening tour. We're not just going to go out and say, hey, dump all your ideas and we're going to put them in a magic machine and output the perfect response, right? We're going to have a dialogue back and forth with you as the community, with you as neighbors, with the city. Anything we do is going to impact the way the city works. If we change the use of a building, you change traffic flow. All of those things are going to be the parts of the puzzle that are going to have to happen. And we're going to probably come back and be like, hey, you had a really good idea, but it might not work for these reasons. What do you think about tweaking it? Or what if it works somewhere else? Sir.
Thank you. I'm called Lieutenant Dan. I'm a director for a program called San Antonio Nurse Midwife Association. We have a profit-making midwife association where we deliver babies, and we're also looking to establish a nonprofit location in this area. And we were talking to Ed Garza about 3 or 4 months ago.
Yep.
He invited us to a meeting in Precinct 4. And he told us that you had 15 schools that are closing. And he said, if you're interested, stick close to what you guys are doing and bring to your attention that we're interested in establishing a nonprofit birth center in one of the facilities. So I don't know what that stands to you guys, but I need to get some feedback to figure out whether we should pursue this or just shake hands and keep on walking.
Yeah. So we definitely are open to that. Again, we're early on in the process, but we're going to capture your name, before you leave, but also throw that information on our website.
But one of the things that you continue visiting the website, the repurposing website, once we get the consultant, we're going to release an RFP, a request for proposal, so that you can submit an application. You'll see the requirements, so that would provide you all the guidance that you need.
Thank you. Question there in the back.
I don't think I was clear when I first spoke about the dual language. What I was sort of getting at is allowing the English speakers to also pursue the Spanish language in the 80-20, you know what I mean? So we wanted our son, when we first signed him up in first grade, to sort of learn Spanish from the beginning, which is not an option. He has the option to learn in junior high and an option to learn in senior, as a senior, for 2 semesters as a junior, or 2 semesters in junior high and 2 semesters at high school. But the Spanish speakers are immersed in it from the beginning and are learning 2 languages as they grow up, while our kids are learning 1 language. So I'd like him to learn 2 languages as well. That's what we had and you know, that was our idea. And I believe that our kids should be also, you know, provided that. And the gentleman was speaking about adults learning English. Let's also get the adults to learn Spanish. You know what I mean? It should be, you know, not just one way. Let's have a 2-lane. That's sort of what I'm getting at. Provide the opportunities for both Spanish speakers and non-Spanish speakers to accumulate the 2 languages.
Thank you. Okay. Any other questions? Well, with that, I'm going to turn it back to President Martinez for some closing remarks. Thank you all for your participation, your great ideas. I'm going to come see some of you on the way out.
Thank you, Kevin. All right, well, that's it for all of us this evening. I will stick around to answer any other questions that you might have, and like he said, some of the other team will also be here. But thank you again to the people that put the presentation together tonight. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And to our comms, marketing, IT folks, face specialists, our face team, thank you. And to all of you that came, thank you. Have a good night and be safe.